Good evening. Greetings and welcome to the Gut Health Series, Making Gut Sense of It All, brought to you by Taylor's Holistic Approach Ministries, a ministry focused on gut health, God, and God's plan of sustainability through His sustenance. I greet you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I pray that you have had a wonderful Sunday full of praise and worship thus far, and I thank you for joining me to talk about gut health. So those of you who are joining us on our Facebook Live, thank you for your support. Thank you for tuning in. I would just ask you to please share this video, be interactive, give me comments, questions, emojis, thumbs up, hearts, do it all. So that we can keep the communication going. I know that you're still with me, you hear me, that you understand what's going on, and make sure that you just spread the word about just gut health in particular, not just about this program, but about gut health in particular. Whatever you learn from here, pass the word on. If you are viewing us through our YouTube channel, welcome. Thank you for joining in. I ask you the same thing, to share, to do comments, ask questions, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell so that when we are uploading our videos and they're ready to go, that you will get notified and that you could view them in order to share them with your friends and your family. So this gut health series is for educational purposes only. It's just so important that we get the word out there. Hello, Kimberly from sunny Rio Vista. It's just so important that we get the education out there so that, to encourage people to really start taking a closer look at what's going on with their health and with the health of their friends and family around them. So it's not meant to cure or create a diagnosis or anything for that million, that's medical. It's just purely for you to just take a look at the facts, for you to take a look at the information, hear the information, and see how it can help you and the people around you. So I just thank you all for joining. Hello, Dominique. And right now we are going to, hi Normie, we're going to say a word of prayer before we go on. I always like to ask for the Lord's guidance as we go forward. Gracious Father, we thank you, oh God, for this day. We're just so excited, oh God, that you love us and that you care for us and that you watched after us all week long. We thank you for bringing us to this point in time. We thank you, oh God, for those of us who were able to tune in to church services to give you praise and to give you worship, to give you honor and glory, oh God, for the mighty and awesome God that you are. I ask you, God, as people come into this session, oh God, that you would open up our minds and our hearts and our ears to receive what you have for us, and not only just to receive it, not only to hear it, but to be encouraged to do something about it and to spread the word that your food is medicine. We just love you and we thank you for our time. In Jesus' name we pray. And if you agree, give me an amen. Amen. So again, thank you for joining us. This is our 5th month of this gut health series, Making Gut Sense of It All. And I appreciate each and every one who drops by and who's able to get some information that you can use on your daily journey. So for the month of September, it's Mental Health Month at Taylor's Holistic Approach Ministries. So we've discussed last Sunday, we discussed depression and how it's an imbalance of neurotransmitters in our brains. And we learned that neurotransmitters transmit information from our neurons, and the neurons is our communicating cells. So hi, Ms. D. So all of this is leading up to everything that we do, as far as we are our brains. Our brain think, our reactions, our emotions, everything is centered. That's why I call it our central section of our minds, because it's who we are, it's how we think. So we've learned that the balance of bacteria, hormones, neurons, and neurotransmitters play a vital role when it comes to our gut and our brain health and their connection. They determine how we think and how we feel, how we act. Think of these things as like conductors in our symphony, in our body symphony, since these are key players to have a healthy gut and a healthy brain. So what are we doing to make sure that we get nutrition that it needs to operate at its fullest capacity? Are you eating enough of God's food? Whether it's his biblical reading, his word, or his nutritional food. Are we doing enough of that on a daily basis? Are you saying no, or are you doing less of processed foods? How's your water intake? Are you continually monitoring, really keeping an eye on how much water you're intaking on a daily basis? How much activity do you have? Do you exercise? And if you know, in a lot of people think of exercise is like, oh, I have to go to the gym, or I have to do jumping jacks, or I have to do push-ups, something like that. And exercise is simply something that raises your heart rate, and so causes you to sometimes perspire, and it gets that energy, those molecules moving around. So it could be cleaning the house. It could be doing what we did last month on one of our sessions is, just praising God through dance. It could be anything that just, not less having your body at just like a resting state all the time. So I mean, does anybody what are you doing? What kind of activity are you doing on a daily basis? It could, activity may be, they said doing crossword puzzles is good for your mind, but there's so many games that are on apps and computers and stuff these days that exercise your brain. And so Iva says, I'm putting on more effort into my exercise. Excellent. And just know, like, when you started exercising, it's like one of the hardest things to do, especially when I was going to the gym, once you stop, is to get started again. And so you just have to really just push yourself that first 1 or 2 times, but then after that, your body gets used to it, and it wants it. It wants that exercise. And I used to get excited. I'd be at the gym and I'd be sweating and I'd be doing this, just thinking about like, when am I going to come back? Because your body needs that. We talked about our body being adaptive and how it automatically craves things, just like the good as well as the bad. So we just want to make sure that we're just mindful of how much we move each day. Okay? Does anybody answer my question about their activity? Iva did. And Norma says she's walking and sometimes play solitaire on her laptop. So both of those are good, physical and mental exercise. Miss D says, since I recently got my knee injections, I'm walking more. Yes, very good. And it could be, if you're not able to just move around, it could be like we did, like, with the low impact, just raising your hands, clapping, waving. If you're not able to walk, lifting one leg up and down, just, and turn on some music to get lost. And that's another thing that helps me when I'm working out, is to have my earplugs on and just, into the music, whatever music moves you, whether it's gospel, whether it's hip hop, blues. I don't say blues, but blues is kind of slow. Maybe blues for walking. But country and western, rock, whatever gets your juices flowing, use that as motivation. Miss Kimberly says, I'm eating whole foods, tracking my steps, not eating anything processed. Excellent. Just keep it up. Kudos to you. Just keep it up. Even if you don't, see it, it'll come gradually, and all of a sudden you'll be where you want to be. So I just encourage you to continue to do that and encourage others to do, you know, do more. They may not be able to do what you do, but at least they can do one of those things, you know, start walking more, tracking your steps, or cut out some of the processed foods, if not all of the processed foods. Start eating more leafy greens, more vegetables, you know, just to do more is, you know, is motivation instead of trying to overwhelming people. Some people can take more than others. And so, but thank you for, you know, sharing that and being that motivation. So what about, we talked about activity. What about sleep? How's your sleep pattern? You know, they said that most studies say that 7 to 8 hours of sleep is what the body needs to rest, digest, regenerate, and all of that. So how is, anyone can answer me on this. Don't all answer at the same time. Because I know I'm trying to get better. I am. I asked you last week to do something good for yourself, and what I'm trying to do better is get more sleep. Okay. Yes, definitely a gradual change. Because if you try to do it all at once, you know, sometimes you set yourself up for failure. So as far as sleep, who out there feel that they may be sleep deprived? Okay, Ms. Kimberly says she's getting 6.5 to 7 hours, and that's acceptable. Anybody else? Yikes. Norma says she needs to do better. Okay, so, you know, room for improvement. That's always good, you know, to recognize that you need room for improvement. So, Miss Kimberly is using her Fitbit as a sleeping monitor. And Norma is getting about 5 hours. When I was working, Sister Felicia says she gets 8 hours, but it's broken, 10 to 2 and 4 to 8. Ooh. Okay. Well, at least you're getting it. And prayerfully, I don't know what the break is if you wake up and you just can't go back to sleep for a couple of hours, or is it an intentional, I'm going to set my alarm for 2 a.m. so that I can work on this, and then I'm going to go back to sleep at 4 a.m. and work and sleep until 8 a.m. But you know, it's purposeful. You're getting that sleep. You're getting that rest. Preferably not broken. It's more. It's not attended at all. Okay. Yeah. So maybe that'll be one of the things that maybe we'll approach as far as resting and how you can just get that solid 8 hours of rest rather than brokenness. You know, what are you eating before you go to bed? What's on your mind before you go to bed? What has happened through your day that you're stressed? Is it every day that you like clockwork, you do the 8, the 4 and the 4, or what? Miss D says, I'm getting more than my fair share, at least 6 straight hours, then 2 later. And you know, another good thing is naps. Naps have been proven to be good. You know, if you can catch you a nap throughout the day, that would be great. Sister Felicia and anybody who gets, you know, Norma, if you could just take, you know, like that siesta, and take, you know, an hour's nap, 45-minute nap, I like to call it a power nap during the day, that will help too in your intake of rest. Okay, so since all disease begin in the gut, when we focus on getting the gut healthy, it illuminates through the rest of our body. Our gut is a major factor in better health. So, Ms. D, 2-hour nap, yes, excellent. And Miss Norma says she's not a napper. She said, my mom made us take a nap when we were growing up. So now she's resisting a nap. Your mom had something going on. Your mom had something good. You guys probably acting up because she probably said, y'all need a nap. But your parents are onto something. When we're little kids, My favorite used to be after church on Sundays, because you wiped out, huh? You wiped out, Miss Kimberly, after church. It's like I need a nap. Amen. That's high praise. But even with our little kids, we say take a nap. And when we get older, because of our schedule and life and whatever, we don't think about that nap. We think maybe we outgrew naps. But naps are really a good part of the day. So if you can sneak in, 30, 45 minutes, if you have the luxury like Miss D and you can take 2-hour nap, hey, go for it. Yeah, I hear you, Miss Kimberly. Yeah, worn out after church. I can relate to that. Okay, so last Sunday we acknowledged we are one body with many members, and what affects one body affects the whole body. So Ms. D said mom needed some downtime from the children. Right. Yeah, that could be that. Yeah, right, exactly. It's like, ooh, y'all working my nerves, take a nap. So then, let me get back on track. Therefore, when there's a deficiency or an imbalance in a certain member, we need to focus our attention on giving it what it needs to heal and bring it back to balance with the rest of the members. That's why it's so important to pay attention to our bodies and learn about how foods heal and which food heals what. So that's just like we talked about how if you have an injury, you pay attention to that injury. You focus on that injury where, you may have to wrap it. You might have to put some ointment on it or some salve on it or some kind of healing substance on it and then wrap it up. Your focus is that to get that healing done. So same thing as we're talking about brain health and mental health. It's like, when you feel something not quite right, then you need to go and say, okay, what can I do to bring healing, to bring health to this particular area in my member, in my body, so that it will go back and regulate like it was supposed to. Okay, so that's why it's important to pay attention. This isn't to say that we can simply, eat good food and all of our problems are solved. We'll never get sick. We'll never be down. We'll never, we'll function perfectly because it's much, much more than that. We do a lot more in disease prevention. What we need to do is we have to do the things that's going to build our body up, build our system up, our immune system, in order that it will either alleviate or the illnesses, the diseases, or we will make our body strong enough to resist any kind of radicals that seek, or bad bacteria or toxins or anything that seeks to affect our bodies. Our bodies are strong enough to resist, and it causes us to have a better quality and longevity of life. So let's review last week's session where we discussed the direction toward depression. We talked about depression last week. So there's different types and different levels of depression. This term is used sometimes when people say, I'm just so depressed. And maybe they're just talking about they're sad. Hi, Cousin Dell. They're talking about they're sad, or they had a bad day. But actual depression is like a mental illness. Depression is far more than just a heavy heart. We learned it was a complex disease with no exact cause, but a number of reasons of why that it happens. Why we can get into a depressed state. Depression can affect our sleep, our sense of self-worth, our connectivity to family, friends, and society. Things and activities that we would normally be engaged in and be excited about, we're no longer interested. Depression can even produce thoughts of suicide. And there's a lot of people today who are no longer with us, who were depressed, who showed maybe signs and that were overlooked or contributed to something else that pushed them to the point where they are no longer with us. Yes, Ms. Kimberly, chemically imbalanced people can also, we'll find out that medications can push you to the point of suicidal thoughts and even the act of suicide. So previously we've said what is going on inside manifests itself on the outside. So on the inside, both the frontal lobe and the hippocampus has gotten smaller. And this is the effect of, this is what's affecting our brain health. This affects the flow of hormones, the flow of neurons, neurotransmitters, hormones. So as you can see, there's a lot going on that's related to when we talked about last week about depression. And we raised the point of support by that support was essential in the healing process of depression. So the therapeutic support of a professionally trained Christian counselor would who would not only listen but hear what you're feeling. They would pray for you, they would pray with you. They will let you know how God loves us, how God cares for us, how he cares about what we're going through, how that, some people think that, they're depressed because they've been told that they were a mistake. You're not a mistake. God gives life. It tells God, and then this counselor would also say how there's a purpose for us and how fearfully and wonderfully we're made and how we're precious in the sight of God, and that God, some people are saddened or depressed because they did something that they can't forgive themselves. And this counselor would reassure them, friends would reassure them that God forgives, he saves, and he keeps us. And so we just have to forgive ourselves. Just ask God for forgiveness and then ask him for the capacity to forgive ourselves. We also need the support of family and friends to make a difference in healing while we're working to improve our gut-brain balance through nutrition. It may be hard sometimes initially to tell if someone is struggling from depression. They look fine, they act the way they always act, but there is this report done by the National Institute of Mental Health, and it records that sometimes it's up to 10 years before somebody will ask for help, and they've been suffering all that time. So it's important that we keep an eye on not only ourselves, but the people around us for signs of depression. Some might suggest, sometimes you go to counselors or somebody who may be not spiritual, and they will suggest medications. We've already said that some medications can leave you chemically imbalanced, but sometimes they use a medication to boost your brain chemicals. So I guess maybe in, cases that are really severe, they may do this. And in the past, I know they've even done some kind of electrotherapy. But prevention is the best medicine. If you think you or someone you know could be depressed, look for natural, holistic ways through professional, spiritual, and family support and balancing nutrition to fight this debilitating disease. So today, our gut focal on mental health brings us to something that as we become older, is all too common, and sometimes, most of the time, is expected as we age, and it's some form of dementia. Today, we're going to talk about Alzheimer's. So what is dementia? The Mayo Clinic website defines dementia this way. Dementia describes a group of symptoms affecting memory, thinking, and social ability severely enough to interfere with your daily life. It's not a specific disease, but several different diseases may cause dementia. Though dementia gradually involves memory loss, Memory loss has different causes. So if you have memory loss, doesn't necessarily mean you have dementia. Remember, we talked about how the neurons and the neurotransmitters are in your brain and in your gut. Well, with dementia, the neurons are decreased and some die. This diminishes the connection and communication internally and ultimately externally. So Kimberly says, I didn't find my way out of depression until I found out who I was in the Father. Yes, I struggle for most of my adult life. That's the benefit of having someone who is God-centered and professionally trained for such a cases as this, Ms. Kimberly, to reassure you of your value, your worth in God. And so I thank God that you did find that outlet, that help, whatever you need, whatever it took to take you out of that depression, and to know that you are a child of the King. So Alzheimer's disease is the most common cause of a progressive dementia in older adults, but there's a number of causes for dementia. Depending on the cause, some dementia symptoms may be reversible. Now, Alzheimer's disease is the most common cause of a progressive dementia in older adults, where there are a number of causes for dementia. Depending on the cause, some dementia symptoms, like I said, are reversible. There are over 5 million people in America today that have been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Yes, Ms. Kimberly, thank God you are free. This is due to years of environmental changes that we've experienced, such as the water we drink, the food we eat, the air we breathe, the lack of sufficient exercise has contributed to many, not only Alzheimer's, but other health conditions. So the quality of water, whether it's in a plastic bottle where there's chemicals leaked into the water, or a faucet where there's it's treated with chemicals and fluoride, it's hard to get like pure water. They said the best way to drink water is through a filtration system or buy it in a glass bottle. Norma says, once we get over the stigma of going to a counselor, we open ourselves up for a much needed help. Exactly. And, and that's one thing that's in the Black community. It's sad to say, but it's been proven that, we don't talk about it. We don't talk about help. We don't talk about, we talk about people, but, not about getting help. She ain't never been quite right. Or, he always been like that. But not really thinking, okay, maybe it's a chemical imbalance. Maybe it's, medication they're taking. Maybe, maybe it's an abusive situation that led to depression, that led to, this place where they are. And so, yes, we cover things up. Like I said before, we never know sometimes when people are in depression, because we put on this happy face, and like everything's fine. Oh, how are you? Oh, I'm blessed and highly favored. And so Ms. D says she's agreed with Norma that we mask our depression. Yes, we definitely do. We definitely do. And sometimes it's for fear of being judged. And sometimes it's for fear of, not telling the right person, and then that person telling another person telling another person, and before you know it, your business is out there, which probably makes you more depressed, will throw you into a deeper depression. So, so Ms. Kimberly says she hit it. Yes. I'm so glad that you guys are, communicating and talking to each other over this. This is awesome. So, processed foods have taken over our lives due to convenience. On a day-to-day basis, we experience low quality air due to the air, that's in the atmosphere that we never know exists, and we never know what we're taking in on a day-to-day basis. Another thing that affects us is exercise is lacking, because we're in this day and age now where, you know, we have transportation, whether it's our own transportation or public transportation. We never think to say, you know what, I'm just going to walk. I'm just going to walk. So, you know, we have that. We need that exercise on a regular basis, if not daily basis. So we need to just carve out time for extra activities. The conditions we have preventing our ability to exercise. So sometimes we have these conditions that prevent us either physically or mentally from exercising. Sometimes it's just, like I said, just putting on music and just praising and just doing some kind of movement to get your heart rate going on a regular basis. And then sometimes people just feel like, I don't need to exercise. You know, my weight is fine, I'm small, I'm petite, or whatever, and I just don't need to exercise. I've never needed to exercise. But exercise is not just, for weight control. It's for brain control also. So WebMD defines normal inflammation. So we talked about inflammation because when all of these factors are in place, it causes inflammation in our bodies. And so we've talked about inflammation before, but just to refresh your memory, inflammation is defined as when it's normal, it's good. It's the chemicals in our body's white blood cells. They enter into the blood or the tissue to protect our bodies from invaders. This raises the blood flow to whatever area it is that's injured or infected. It can cause redness and warmth. Some of the chemicals cause fluid to leak into our tissues, which is called swelling. But this is our body's protective mechanism. It's when it's on a basis where, we are injured, and then we go through like I said before with the injured member. We pay attention to that member. Same thing with our white blood cells and our blood flow. If we have an injury, if we have some kind of infection, it rushes through that area and start the healing process and start the protection process. So, Alzheimer's is called type 3 diabetes. Did anybody know that? Because of the similarities in type 2 diabetes, they call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes, because it said the process starts with insulin resistance like diabetes or prediabetes. This starts the inflammation in our brain that spreads to other parts of our brains. So the first area affected is the area responsible for short-term memory and focus. As the inflammation progresses and spreads, it becomes Alzheimer's. So there was this, I'm in this, it's this session that I'm in now, and it's all about Alzheimer's and the prevention and what brings it on and everything. And so there was this testimony that I really wanted to share with you. It was by a Dr. Sarah Gottfried, and she's a physician, a scientist, and she wrote a book called Brain Body Diet. And so in this interview that she was doing, she tells a story of two grandmothers. So the first grandmother loved martinis, and she had 2 or 3 every night. She didn't have a career, which she was really depressed about. She regretted not having a career. And she sat around all day, every day, watching her soap operas. She loved sugar. So the doctor found herself making chocolate chip cookies with her grandmother on a regular basis. Eventually, something changed. There was a shift. So she said that her grandmother would come and pick her up at the bus stop, and they lived 5 minutes away. But her grandmother started getting confused and lost as to how to get back home. And years later, she was, I think, put into a facility, and because she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And for 18 years, she suffered with Alzheimer's until she passed away. Now, on the other hand, she had a great-grandmother. And her great-grandmother ate whole foods. She despised processed packaged food. Her days were filled with purpose, meaning, and intention. She would show up at their house with loads of fruits and vegetables. She remembers having kale and blueberries. The doctor said that her great-grandmother had a way of eating that was, ahead of her time. She slept on a board because she thought your spine should be erect. She did yoga. And then even when the doctor got married, by the time she got married, her great-grandmother was 96. And she says at her wedding reception, her great-grandmother was flirting with all the men and even getting up and dancing with the men. And she outlived 4 husbands. So when she passed away peacefully in her sleep, and she had no chronic diseases. So here's the tale of 2 grandmothers, a grandmother and a great-grandmother, who lived totally opposite lives. One drank a lot and was really not fulfilled in her life. She was sad that she didn't have a career and that she spent her day in and day out just watching soap operas and just existing. And eventually, she developed Alzheimer's. And then the great-grandmother, who was more keen on, nutrition and living correctly and exercise and brain activity and all this stuff, she lived, to be in her late 90s. With no kind of chronic diseases or anything and no kind of memory loss. So this tells us that there's something about, the way we live now that will reflect on us later. Alzheimer's is a thief. It robs the victim of years, past, present, and future. It robs the family of quality time with the victim of each, and it affects everybody's quality of life. Because if you have a person that you are a caregiver of and they have this disease, then it affects your quality of life, which affects your family's quality of life, because your focus has to be them and taking care of their needs because they are no longer able to. And I said robs them of memories, and sometimes it robs the family of family history because they don't remember. And so now you're left with, this shell of a person who you have to now take care of. So it affects everybody. So what can we do about it? Like I mentioned before, being preventative is the best medicine. So at what age should we actually start seriously thinking about Alzheimer's? And so what is your thoughts? Or what do you know? I ask the question. At what age do you think we should actually start seriously thinking about Alzheimer's and how it will affect us personally? So what do you think? Over 40, over 50? Do we have to, over 60? Norma says right now. Okay, right now for people who are as early as possible, Ivo says. Shay says now. Okay, so in reflection to your answers, you've already answered this question, that it doesn't merely start with people that are over 85. Okay, Miss D says late 50s for some. Okay, so for those who say now and as early as possible, those are the correct answers. Because what they finding people as early as in their late 20s show signs of cognitive decline. And so, and it's because of, our lifestyle. So Kimberly says it should be on our radar. Ivy says 30s. A former coworker's sister started at 40. And so, like I said, the correct answer is now. Now is the time, because there are changes happening in our brain on a day-to-day basis, and it reflects what we're going through each day. So we should start thinking about and doing things now, like I said, preventative things that will be beneficial later on, not only later on, but now. So, so let's answer a couple obvious questions, okay? So, and I want you to interact with me. So, like, what happens when we don't eat? What are some things like if you stop eating today and you didn't eat yesterday or the next day? What are some things that will happen? Or you can answer this: what happens to a plant if it's not watered? Or what happens to a garden if it's not weeded, weeds aren't pulled up, or it's not fertilized, or it's not watered? What happens? Whether it's humans, animals, or plants, if it's not cared for properly and given what it needs to maintain, it shrivels up, it weakens, and eventually it fails to exist. So we need to examine our diet. Last week we talked about the mind diet. So let's recap and pull this in, because it still relates to brain power. We can start losing brain functions. Yes, Iva says we die. Yes, Norma says we shrivel up and then we die. Yes, exactly. All of that. So, and we talked about bringing our focus on to what's injured. If we drink water and don't eat food for a week, I'm okay. Okay. But eventually, what I'm talking about is eventually, if you're not, nourishing your body, then you cease to exist, or you don't exist as well as you could. So, Kimberly says, I increased my carbs since last week for that reason. Okay, so so since we're talking about an injured area, so we're talking about brain health. So we last week we brought into focus the mind diet. So we're going to go back over the mind diet that we did last week, where we just listed, and we're going to elaborate a little bit more, because it really plays into the brain health and Alzheimer's. So we talked about green leafy vegetables like spinach. Spinach has iron and has zinc. Collard greens help to lower cholesterol. Mustard greens, turnip greens, kale. Kale has proteins. Kale has omega-3. Kale has fiber, antioxidants, vitamins, nutrients, iron, calcium. We talked about beets and the beet stems. Even the beet stems have iron and magnesium. You can saute them, or you can just rinse them off and add them to your salad. Another thing is Swiss chard. Swiss chard reduces blood sugar. It helps to detox the body. So as you can see, like leafy greens or so on, zinc is good for your immune system. We all know that iron is important for the blood. We talked about broccoli. And broccoli contains vitamin C, potassium, vitamins K and A. It contains protein. It helps with your heart health. It helps memory. It helps cholesterol, calcium for the bones, zinc, and reduces inflammation. Like broccoli is like a powerhouse. So if you don't have broccoli in your diet, think about it. Beets have vitamin C. It has fiber, antioxidants, potassium, magnesium. It's said to be a good blood purifier. You can also eat the leaves. We mentioned about eating the leaves of the beet plant. And blueberries. Blueberries have antioxidants. It helps carry waste out of the body. And so that's a good thing, because we talked about all the the toxins that we inhale and that can affect our brain. So blueberries is a very good thing for carrying waste out of our bodies. Strawberries help with cholesterol. It has vitamin C, it has vitamin K, folate, fiber, antioxidants, magnesium. We talked about whole wheat. There's different opinions about whole wheat, but if you don't have a wheat sensitivity, it is said that it has some good benefits for your food. It has good benefits like fiber, nutrients, lower the risk of heart disease, stroke. It helps with digestion and inflammation. Ms. D says she loves veggies. I'm not good with eggplant. Maybe I don't have it. I don't know how to prepare it. Love blueberries and strawberries from Miss Norma. You know what? I had an eggplant once, and I was at a restaurant, and they put it raw on a salad that I had, and it was horrible. And I was, from then on, I was like, I do not like eggplant. And then a year or so ago, we had a potluck or something at my job in San Francisco, and one of my friends, Ali, he brought this eggplant dish, and it was delicious. So Miss D, it's all in how you prepare it. Okay, it's all in how you prepare it. And and that's another thing about, different type of vegetables that you don't normally eat. You have to find a way of cooking it, and it's not necessarily, you can find it in different types of recipes, Mexican recipes, Indian recipes, Jamaican recipes. You just have to look for different recipes in order to maybe find a way that you liked it prepared. We talked about wine. With women, it suggested one glass of wine a day, and men 2 glasses of wine a day. So a study shows, and we talked about how, initially relaxes you, but it doesn't give you a good quality of sleep. So the benefits include it helps with inflammation. It's anti-inflammatory. It's anti-aging because of the presence of the compound of resveratrol. And so but it's a balance, because too much could have the complete opposite effect on your aging. Although most studies promote red wine, white wine also carries some of the same benefits, and it's all in moderation. That you can reap the benefits of having a glass, women, and 2 glasses, men, a day. Okay. All right. So we also, in our discussion of, foods to take in, we also talked about foods to stay away from. And cheese was one of the ones that we said, we should stay away from because of the saturated fat in cheese. But then Miss D also commented she did feta cheese. And so I posted later on her, as a response to her, the benefits of feta cheese. So there are cheeses that do have some benefits that, you can also do in moderation. So my sister Iva says she likes eggplant with pasta at the Olive Garden. The recipe is online. Okay, good to know, good to know. So not all cheeses are created equal. So let's look at some cheeses and their benefits. Okay, so I looked up there's this chart, and it had like a list of healthy cheese. So the one cheese was mozzarella, and mozzarella cheese is a healthy cheese. Blue cheese, Parmesan cheese, feta cheese, Miss D, cottage cheese, cheddar cheese, ricotta, Swiss, and goat cheese. Now those are a list of, they said, good cheeses. Now, So with these, they are, even within this list, you have to watch the fat and the sodium. Okay, so from the list, the mozzarella cheese has the least. I think it was a mozzarella. No, actually, the ricotta cheese had the most fat with 12 grams per ounce. Cottage cheese came in at the highest on sodium at 500 milligrams per, I guess, ounce or serving. So, it doesn't mean that you can't indulge in these healthy cheeses, just as we always say, as Ms. Kimberly reminded us last week, in moderation. Okay. So just please keep that in mind, and keep that in mind that everybody is different. We're all unique. We're all made differently. Some people can stand a little bit more than others, but just keep in mind of doing things that, could be not, so healthy. Just do it in moderation. And the main goal is to really wean yourself from it. So then we talked about red meat, and to reduce your consumption of red meat to 3 times a week. And it's just, and when you do even just have quality red meat, something that's grass-fed, whether you're having a burger or whether you're having a steak, go for grass-fed. And then, I've tried, has anybody tried the what is it? The burger substitute. I can't remember the name of it. Who can tell me the name of it? Not food, not burger, not meat. I can't remember right now. Just as good as meat or something. It's like a plant-based burger. And I've tried them, and they're really good. So if you're trying to, Beyond Meat, thank you, Norma. If you're trying to, not eat as much meat, Miss G says she doesn't eat red meat, very good. Beyond Meat. So if you're trying to wean yourself or trying to go toward being a vegan or vegetarian, try things like, Beyond Meat. That's nutritious, but, still watch your, same thing as with the cheese, watch the sodium intake, because not all brands are created equal. So you really have to, like anything else today, you have to really read the ingredients to find out what it's really made of and how much of what's in there. Okay, healthy eating always helps regulate. It also, another benefit, it helps regulate our blood sugar. So not only, with our mind, but, this whole thing about Alzheimer's being type 3 diabetes, eating healthy is really a plus on trying to just really regulate blood sugar and keep yourself in alignment with what you're supposed to do dietarily. So Norma Lee says that she ate red meat before once a year, and that maybe, and then I stopped forever 15 years ago. Okay, excellent. That gospel bird got me. For those of you who are watching and you don't know, or you're watching this later on and you don't know what the gospel bird is, the gospel bird is chicken. The gospel bird is chicken. So, and so now a lot of people do eat, they're vegetarians, but they eat, poultry. So they eat fish and chicken and turkey. And so, and even in that, that's fine, do that. But just make sure that, you eat it properly. Hey, Miss Belinda, she said, I think I've been eating bad. But that's okay. We're glad you stopped by, so you can be encouraged to really start thinking about a healthier way of eating. And you can always stop in for some healthy tips on finding your way to a healthier life. So Miss Norma says she baked chicken and had fried, but maybe twice a year. Okay, and so even with that, now they have, does anybody have an air fryer? Because if you're just like stuck on, I need something, I have this thing for fried foods, and you can be versatile, bake more, and, then you can have that air fried food. I haven't really looked into like the, as far as like, is it really healthier? It seems to be, because you're not using oil. But even you can still fry. You can fry in like coconut oil. You can fry in extra virgin olive oil. So there's still ways that you can fry healthy. But if you can invest in an air fryer, that will really, I think, would be a good thing. Yeah, Miss Norma, my son and his wife, they have one, and then I have a friend, Sandra. She purchased one. She was like the first person, I think, that I know of that had one, and yeah, it's good. I mean, they make a lot of things in it. A lot of things in it. So, okay, Belinda, you do use an air fryer. Do you like it? Avocado oil, yes, that's another good oil. Thank you, Miss Kimberly. Miss D says air fryer is quick, no oils, no mess to clean. Baked chicken gives me the crisp I need. That's good enough for me. Very good. Yes, that's good. And that's good that like you're finding different ways, healthier ways of, eating some of the things that you eat. And that's the thing, the next step is, okay, are you eating commercial meat? Are you eating organic meat? Are you eating free range chicken? Things of that sort, because although, we cook healthy, we also make sure that if we're gonna eat the meat or even the vegetables, to make sure that they're healthy, to make sure that the vegetables are organic for the most part. We talked months ago about the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen, how the U.S. Agriculture, they put out this list of fruits and vegetables that were most and least affected by pesticides and stuff. So you can look on that list, and the Clean 15 say you will be, it's okay to buy those, just, the commercial version of it. You doesn't have to be necessarily organic, but then the Dirty Dozen has been most affected. So those are the ones that you really, really should consider buying organic. So, yes, that's good, Miss Kimberly. You do organic, grass-fed, and finished. Very good. And even on the fish, if you're eating fish, because fish is also with omega-3s and fatty, and the good fats of fish, you also want to make sure that it's wild caught. Wild caught sockeye salmon is really good. Fatty fish like sardines, mackerel, things like that are also good for your brain health. Okay, so some things we can do besides healthy eating is sleep, like we talked about, as far as like, with anything, with your whole body composition, it's just so important that you rest, that you get the proper amount of sleep so your brain can rest. We're always constantly thinking and doing, and the longer you stay up, you'll probably eat something that you can just grab and it's not good for you. It's really important to get that, go to bed. It's like your mom said, you need a nap, take a nap, go to sleep. Yes, Miss Kimberly, wild, that's why I said wild caught, not farm, because the farm fish are really, the sanitation is not good. So be sure to, with any kind of fish, whether you're eating salmon or any other type of fish, catfish or whatever, look for, and even if it's fresh or frozen, always look for wild caught. Even tuna in a can, look for pole caught, as far as that's concerned. Okay, so we have healthy eating, we have sleep, and we talked about exercise and supplements. Talk about supplements. Try to find some good vitamins to take, whether it's in powder form, which is, I think, probably preferred if you can find something in powder, because then you put it in a liquid and it gets to your system easier than a pill that has to dissolve. And so, and then, you may not get all of it. It may not all, some of it they say even comes out, in your waste or whatever. So I've have seen several things where they're liquid or they're powder that you add liquid to, that has all your vitamins and nutrients contained in that. So it's good not only to eat right, but to also find a good vitamin supplement. Another good thing that we need to do as far as like keeping a good brain health is lessening your stress. Stress is a big factor and causes inflammation. So when we talked about emotional health, we talked about stress, and so stress causes inflammation. Inflammation causes problems, causes disease, causes, in your brain, it causes not so good brain health, but inflammation anywhere in your body, and it's chronic inflammation. Like we explained before, inflammation, it could be a good thing because it's our body's way of protecting us until we heal to whatever certain area that is, whether it's an infection or whether it's an injury. But chronic inflammation due to lifestyle is not a good thing. Lessen our exposure to toxins is another thing we want to watch out as far as good brain health. And by toxins, it's so many. Like I said, we can be breathing toxins every day from, now we have like all of these people, places that have like these fires that's going on, that's burning, chemicals in the air. But not only outside, but in our homes. How many of you, put on like colognes every day or perfumes, in our deodorants, in our mouthwash, and the things like in our dish detergent and our laundry detergent. They have what they call I can't think of it right now, but it's like off-gassing. That's what it is, off-gassing. And off-gassing is like you get the chemicals from like, it could be like from when you pick up dry cleaning, or it could be from paint in your walls, or it could be from your carpet. It could even be from your sheets. It's this off-gassing, these chemical things. So we just want to be mindful of the things that are around us, so that we can contain things more, that we can be more aware when we're purchasing things. We got to learn to read, because there's a lot of things that are harming us and causing a chemical imbalance in our brains, not only medication, but it's just simple everyday things. One thing that I never thought about, but medications that cause drowsiness can rob our bodies of zinc, which is important for gut and brain health, and it's also important, like I mentioned before, our immune system. So it's important that we know that if you're on medication and you're on it long term, that is not doing your body any good. Another thing that is affecting us, and this is going to be, I think, for some people like cheese, diet sodas. A lot of people, when diet sodas came on the scene, it was just like the answer to everybody's prayer. It's sugar-free, it's fat-free, it's this and it's that. And everybody is like, okay, give me a burger, give me fries, a milkshake, and Diet Coke. or give me some Cheetos and Ding Dong or Ho-Hos or whatever, and a Diet Pepsi. And so, but not knowing that diet soda is not good for you because of what it pertains. Another thing about reading. So the aspartame that's in diet sodas acts like a neurotoxin, which is a poisonous substance that affects the function of our nerve cells. Also, another thing that's in diet sodas is sucralose. And sucralose also, it's in diet soda, and it has high level of chlorine. And so it's toxic to our cells. So while we're, not doing, it has no calories and it has no sugar, but you have to look at the other ingredients because there's a reason that it still tastes good. They substituted artificial sweeteners or something in it to make you purchase it. Okay, Norma says she stopped drinking sodas 20 years ago. Excellent. Soda ain't my friend. You got that right. So, it's just, people will say, I'm not drinking regular sodas, but I'm drinking diet. But you really have to look up and investigate the ingredients that you're taking, because some people drink, on a regular basis. They have cases of diet soda, and just know that it is toxic to your cells and it's not doing you any good. There is hope though. Like I said, preventative. We have to start doing things, as we said, now, right now. And even last week we talked about a study that they did on unborn children, that in their wombs, that how their mothers' diets when they're in the womb affect them even after they were born, because it affected the development of their brains. So there is a process called neurogenesis. Neuro meaning, the cell, and genesis meaning beginning. So it's a process of growing new brain cells, and it can be stimulated by a healthy diet and exercise. Isn't it awesome that what God has already given us can repair what we've damaged through our lifestyle? And so I'm gonna post, there's this video, and there's many videos out there, but this one particular one gives you not only just foods you can eat, but also essential oils, and it tells you about herbs and stuff that will help you in your brain health. So Iva says, 40 plus years, I learned diet soda was bad for the brain health. I stopped immediately and experienced better mental clarity. Very good. It won't let me do the and more. So everybody can read that. Excellent. Excellent. Yes. Diet soda. If you're doing it, I urge you to get off of it, to wean yourself off of it. Because I know it's whatever is in it, it's addicting. And so make sure that, like I said, okay, so while I'm wrapping this up, and I am wrapping this up, I asked you last week, those of you on last week, I asked you to do something good for yourself during the week. So I want you to let me know what kind of changes, what kind of something that you do, whether like I went to bed earlier, or I had 30 minutes more sleep, or instead of 5 cookies, I ate 4 cookies, or, whatever you did, instead of, just laying around on the couch, I walked around the couch once. Whatever you did good for yourself, something positive for your not only just your physical health, but your brain health. Let me know. Chime in. So just know that there's help, and all you need to do is just be aware and get the information. And not only just gather the information, but use the information. So I just pray that this has inspired you to be more cautious. Iva says studies show that people who drink large amounts of diet soda also tend to gain weight. Yes, and it's ironic that people use it because they think that it's going to help them control their weight, but it actually does the opposite because of the other chemicals and other stuff that's included. So, drink, God's water is an awesome alternative. Drink more water. You know, it helps flush your system. You know, it helps hydrate you. And if you just think, you know, like winging yourself off of just soda, period, there are also sodas out there that have like stevia, that are made with stevia instead of, you know, granulated sugar or high fructose corn syrup or any of the other harmful sugar substitutes. So, you know, maybe you can, if you just, you know, just have to have something, but just regulate it. You know, it's just like, okay, I usually have a soda, you know, like every day. Then try every other day. And then try, you know, twice a week, and then once a week, until you just, you know, and continue to drink, you know, more water and other things that will be beneficial to you rather than soda. So Ms. Kim said, I said no to anything that did not bring me joy. I was selfish with my me time. Okay, very good. Yes, that's what Miss Kim did for herself last week. Excellent, excellent. Yes, we need that me time. Miss D said, I never enjoyed the taste of diet soda, but I love Crystal Light. Yeah, and Weiler's. Yeah, okay. Look at the ingredients on that, and like the sugar content, salt content, what other kind of dyes or whatever that it contains. So sparkling water helped me quit. Yeah, that's another good alternative, is, you know, do sparkling water. There's different types of, you know, maybe it's organic sparkling water out there that you can, you know, that you can drink to wean yourself off of sodas. Another, I mentioned a while back, there's another drink that I drink, and it's a fermented tea, and I mentioned it last week, is kombucha. Now with kombucha, they said, you know, don't drink it too often, maybe like one a day. And so normally if you would have, you know, like a soda on a normal basis, I guess if you're not addicted to it, you would have one a day. So I drink, you know, one a day, maybe. But that's what I drink. So if I want like a kick, if I want some acidity or whatever, I'll have a kombucha. And it has probiotics, it has good bacteria, it's something's good for me. It comes in different flavors, and it gives me what I need. But other than that, I drink water and I drink tea. And that's another thing that you can do as far as like getting nutrition, is to drink tea. Not necessarily, you know, right now it's hot, so you might not want hot tea, which I do like in the mornings. But like during the day, that same tea that you would make hot, you can put ice cubes in it and make it cold. You know, so you can have your herbal cold teas in different forms that you can drink instead of drinking soda. Okay. All right, so anybody else want to share what they did good for themselves last week before we go? Or if you have any questions, any comments that you want to share, then that would be awesome also. Okay, Ms. Kimberly drinks green iced tea. I drink it. I drink usually, most of the time I drink hot tea. I just like hot tea. And so whether it's in the middle of the day, or whether I think, you know, something's not right, I need like some ginger tea. If I have like an upset, you know, my stomach is kind of queasy or not just right, I'll have ginger tea. I'll have, if I wanted, you know, just thinking about just overall health, I'll have turmeric tea. There's so many types of like herbs and stuff in tea form that we can take advantage of. That would be awesome, you know, and take the herb tea and, you know, add some organic fruit to it, or add mint to it, add peppermint to it, cucumbers. I even said that with water. So let's take the thing with, you know, with water, if you like flavor. Just take your water, put some ice in it, drop some fruit in there, and the fruit gives it a light fruity flavor, and it's refreshing and it's awesome, and then you're getting the vitamins and nutrients from your fruit. And you can also add mint into your water also. Yes, I drink, well, most of the time I drink it hot. Green tea, I drink it hot. Okay. So that's going to wrap it up today. So just remember, about your brain health. It's time to start now. For your family and your friends around you, it's time to start now. From your babies to your oldest grandchild to your siblings, it's time to start now. Especially if they're showing signs already of, forgetting things, being disoriented or whatever. It's time to start now. Cutting things out, getting away from toxins, getting away from sugar, getting away from processed foods, giving your body, your brain what it needs to thrive, thinking about the neurogenesis of growing new brain cells, and stimulating that, because it's stimulated by healthy diet and exercise, and not only just the food you eat, but would add herbs and spices, essential oils, all of that will play a part in a healthy brain and a happier brain and a happier and a healthier you. Okay, so I'm going to read your doxology for today. And if, as always, if you have any more comments or questions, I will save this video to the Ministries page. You can also, there's my phone number is on the Ministries page. You can also send me a private message from the page. Those of you who have my number is also on the page, 707-287-1030. And we can chat further. I can encourage you, pray with you, whatever you need in order to continue on your journey to better health. 2 John 3 says, grace, mercy, and peace be with us from God the Father and from Jesus Christ the Father's Son, in truth and in love. So in truth and in love, take this information, spread it around, keep it for yourself. We all want to live longer, stronger, healthier lives, so that it's all about the building of God's kingdom. Until next time, God bless. Have a fantastic, blessed week.